Welcome to Cash Chats with me, Andy Webb from BeCleverWithYourCash.com. This is the podcast to help you make the most of your money. In episode 361, we'll be talking about Amazon's latest price increase, this time to the Ring doorbell system subscription. I'll be sharing how you could potentially beat this and talk a little bit more about all the different hikes we've had from Amazon over the last few years. Since it's Valentine's this week, I'll be taking you through some new research that shows that 1 in 10 people in relationships have a secret stash of cash they have hidden from their partner. I'll be talking about why I think that's actually a good idea. I'll also take you through American Express credit cards. If you haven't had one in the past or haven't had one for the last 2 years, I'll give you my top tips of the one to go for in the first instance. And also, I want to talk about regular savers. There has been a big cut to the top rate at the end of last week, and that might mean we are running out of time to lock in the best paying ones out there. All of that and our deals of the week. So make sure you stay tuned for that at the end of the episode. Now, if you are watching the podcast or listening to the podcast on YouTube, you might find some of these segments are missing. Don't worry, they are there as separate videos within our YouTube channel. So you can quickly go over there and find them, or go to the podcast tab within YouTube and you'll see our full playlist and you'll find them in there. So you can always make sure you don't miss out on all the content in this week's episode. But let's waste no more time and get straight into episode 361 of Cash Chats. So let's kick off talking about a price hike from Amazon. And this time it isn't to Amazon Prime. It isn't to any of the delivery fees and things like that. So for a lot of you, you might be few. Your prices aren't going to go up if you just use Amazon for shopping and streaming and things like that. But if you also have the Amazon Ring camera system, the doorbell, whatever it might be, anything that is linked into that, you might not, one, realize it's from Amazon, but two, you might not have spotted that on the 11th of March, they are increasing the annual fee for the service which you have. It's called Ring Protect. And this is basically where you can go back, rather than just watch live, which you can do for free, you can go back and watch things later on. So if you want to find out why the fence is broken, or you want to check that the cat did come in at a certain time, or even worse than that, the whole point of these really, if you did get burgled, you can go back and try and get some evidence and see if you can identify who did it. That service will increase on the 11th of March from $34.99 to $49.99. That £15 increase represents 42%. That is a massive, massive hike over a year. Yeah, it's just 15 quid. 42%, that is absolutely huge. And this isn't the first increase we've had in the last year and a half alone. It's gone up by 100% in the last 18 months. 100%. That is absolutely epic. And this is the thing, that if you bought the Ring doorbell for this kind of feature, you've got to pay for it. You've got no way out of it, really. So I want to make you aware this is happening. There is a kind of a workaround that will help you for at least 12 months. So this comes into play on the 11th of March. Now, whether you pay for this currently monthly or annually, you can, if you cancel it, get a pro rata refund. That basically means, let's say you're 6 months into a year. If you cancel it now, you'll get 6 months refunded. It seems to be that if you do pay annually, they'll only refund you for 4 months. If you are paying monthly, they'll refund you for the days, or it'd be lovely if they refund you for the days as well on the annual one. I'm not 100% sure on that. But anyway, the point is, if you cancel it now before the 11th of March, you can then sign up and pay up front for a year at that current price of $34.99. So saving yourself 15 quid, at least in this first year. You won't be able to avoid it in 12 months' time. So then maybe you need to rethink about whether you want to continue with this service, when you want to try a different operator. But of course, the problem there is you have to buy new doorbells, new cameras if you do want to have that. So this is kind of where I'm kind of leading into this one. It's the dangers of being tied into any particular ecosystem where there is these extra charges that come into play. And Amazon in particular are quite bad for that, and it does tie you in. But Amazon also, this is what I want to talk about, they have increased prices a fair amount over the last couple of years across a number of their different services. And I just want to share this with you. If you're a regular listener or watcher, you'll know that I'm not the biggest fan of Amazon Prime, because I don't actually think it represents good value for money, because you buy more money when you've got it, you spend more, you don't shop around. But here's a quick idea thing. So 2022, Amazon Prime increased from £79 a year to £95 a year. That was 20% increase. And Ring Protect, as we know, that already had an increase then from $24.99 to $34.99, which was 40% increase. That was their first increase from them. In 2023, Prime Music went up from $8.99 to $9.99 a month for Prime members, and from $9.99 to $10.99 a month for non-Prime members. Again, to be fair, all the music services did that around the same time, but again, yet another increase. Blink, that's also owned by Amazon. They started charging a subscription. Before that, there wasn't one. That was £8 a month for all the cameras. Again, new charge, again, extra things coming on. Prime late last year added a new $1.99 same-day delivery charge, even if you have Amazon Prime. And then we've had just in this month, Prime Video, if you want to watch that ad-free, you've got to pay $2.99 every single month for that, effectively a 42% increase on what Prime Video would cost you previously. And then now this Ring Protect increase, again, the second one in 18 months, another 43%. Just share that with you, those stats with you, just to kind of give you an indication, these hikes, yes, we're seeing hikes everywhere, but this is a lot of hikes coming from Amazon over the last couple of years, and something to maybe think about whether it is worth locking yourself into a system where you're going to have these fees coming along, but also is it worth it's worth assessing again whether you think Amazon is going to be offering you the best value for money. So next up, I want to talk about love, because Valentine's Day is this week, and there is some research from smart money people that has come out looking at how people do share their money within relationships and what's good and what's bad. And there's one particular stat that really stood out to me. And this was that 1 in 10 people in relationships have a secret stash of cash that their partner knows nothing about. Now, partly a good reason for having that money is to have that financial independence so you can spend as you wish. Now, that doesn't necessarily need to be secret, having this money, okay? But I do think it's really important you have some money put aside that you aren't going to have to check with someone that you can spend it or have to justify purchases afterwards. If you listen to the episode of the pod either a year ago or 2 years ago, forgive me, I can't remember the actual one, I talked about how I accidentally, because we shared all our money together, me and my wife, accidentally ended up being in that position where she felt she didn't have control of her finances, which is not what I wanted. I just wanted to get the best deal here, best deal there, but it wasn't quite how it turned out. So even if you have the best intentions and you pool all your money together, it still can cause problems. So I absolutely think it's worth having your own money for those kind of things. But what was interesting as well, out of that 1 in 10 of people who have a secret stash, 3 in 10 of those people have got that. So 1 in 5 of those people have got that, and they as a get out fund. So 20% of people who have this, they've got it as their kind of an escape fund if they need to. And in fact, that increases to 1 in 3 for people in their 30s. So this is a significant, I think, number of people who are thinking, and I think wisely so, and this doesn't sound the most romantic idea, does it? I've just watched One Day on Netflix over the weekend, which is, love over 16, 17 years. One of the things that doesn't pop up in that, obviously, is the idea of them hiding money from each other. But you never know what's going to happen in a situation, in a relationship. And if you have this secret fund, a get out fund, it used to be called by a lot of people an F-off fund. Basically, it's a freedom fund. It's the idea that if things are really bad, you are not tied in to this relationship. If you are living together and you have got a joint mortgage or joint rent or all these kind of things, it become a bit harder to sort of disappear because, what do you do? Because you've still got to pay that rent. You've still got to pay that mortgage. Well, if you've got a bit of cash, it can sort of tide you over for a little bit and while you sort of try and even out some of the sort of the more those sort of finances which are more intrinsically tied together. It means that you've got that ability to, just pay for the daily essentials, pay for bits and pieces. Because again, if you were pooling money together, it might be that you're a perfectly happy relationship, just not working out for you. Nothing sinister going on. But suddenly, you're going to have to pay not just the rent, but bills, food costs, things you can't share anymore. Need more money for it. So having this separate fund of money available to you becomes really, really, really more and more important. And it doesn't have to be even just about relationships. It can be about work. You could be single, but if you're stuck in a job that you absolutely hate, having a pot of money, this kind of get out fund, could give you that freedom. If you've got a horrible boss or whatever it might be, to get out and effectively start again. But I guess going back to the whole point of it being in a relationship and keeping it secret is because you don't want to tell someone you've got this money for that. But I absolutely think it's something to be considering. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be open about your finances in a relationship. You absolutely should. On the whole, you want to be sort of sharing savings goals, spending goals as much as you can. Particularly if you're at odds, one of you's a spender and one of you's a saver, you want to do whatever you can to kind of avoid finance and money becoming a problem between the two of you. Because if you've been in a relationship and you have got a different spending attitude or different earning levels, or so many things can cause problems if you don't talk about it. So have those conversations, have shared accounts for those shared expenses, and maybe one of you pays in more than the other one, but even so, you're talking about it, you're aware of what's going on. But this is what that this research from Smart Money People I think is so important in highlighting is that importance for two reasons. I'll say them again. One, your financial independence in terms of spending what you want and how you want from your money. And secondly, having that potential, and hopefully you're never going to need it, but you've got that stash of cash that is available for you if you ever did need to sort of get out at the last minute. Now, what's important to say here about this money, this kind of emergency cash, and it could just be just normal emergency funds as well, absolutely apply to this, whether you want to cover an MOT that's failed or a boiler service that's needed, as well as money you need for getting out if you need to, that needs to be easy access. Now, last week on both YouTube and the podcast and on the website, becleveryourcash.com, I did a savings update that has some of the sort of information about the best easy access accounts. But don't forget, you can always check the latest ones, becleverwithyourcash.com/savings, where myself and the team, every day, we're updating all the top rates at all the different savings accounts, all the different types. But yeah, you want to be focused on easy access for this money so you can get it straight away. You're not going to have to wait until a fix finishes or until a regular saver ends, or go on giving notice of 90 days for a notice account. Easy access is where you need that immediate amount of money. Now, having said all this, there is some research that's come out just today saying about how I think it's about half the country have less than £1,000 in savings. So saying all this is all well and good, isn't it? But, well, if you haven't got a grand saved up, or anyway, for general life things that come along, how are you going to have money in this sort of escape fund? I still think it's worth having some of it, proportion saved. You might have joint emergency savings together, still worth having some money that's there for you, just in case, even just to get you through a few days or whatever it might be. It's worth trying to have a few £100 at least sort of put aside if you can. While we're on savings, let's quickly talk about regular savers actually. And this is late on Friday, someone over in the Facebook community. If you're not a member, please do join us. I think we're 8,500 members now. URL is becleverwithyourcash.com/community. Someone in the Facebook group let me know they'd spotted that Nationwide had lowered the rate on their Flex regular saver from 8% to 6.5%. So 6.5% is still good. It's the second best, relatively easily available regular saver account out there, but it's not as good as 8%. So I did talk about this in my savings update last week, but I want to kind of go over it again just to reinforce it because I think it's well worth thinking about it. First of all, let's focus on that Nationwide rate. So this 6.5% rate is only for people opening up the account now. If you opened one previously, and I think it launched in September time, you are still getting 8% on your money, at least for the time being. It is a variable rate rather than fixed rate regular saver, but the fact that they haven't reduced it in this instance at the same time will hopefully mean it's going to stay at that 8% until maturity. Again, this will only last for 12 months. So potentially if you did open it before last Friday, you've got 12 months from then. If you opened it back in September, then you've only got until September at 8%. When it finishes, when it closes, you can open up a new issue of it. It could still be at this current rate of 6.5%. It could have dropped again by then. But it's important to know this is just new applicants going for existing ones. You're still at 8%. So if this top of the table one has already dropped, what could that mean for other regular savers? And generally, you're going to get the highest rate of interest out there from a regular saver. Not all regular savers are going to be top, but certainly when you look at all different rates across all the different accounts, the ones at the top are regular savers. The best paying ones right now are First Direct 7%, which is fixed for 12 months. So once you've got that, it will not drop in that 12 months. Then the Nationwide one we've mentioned, which is 6.5%. Then the Club Lloyds account, which is 6.25%. That is also fixed for 12 months. And then we have the Nationwide or RBS. You can get both of them or either of them. That's 6.17%. And that one is variable. That one does not last for 12 months. That just keeps going for longer and longer. Now, all four of those top accounts do require you to have a current account with those banks. So that's going to be maybe a step that could be a bit of a barrier for some of you, particularly if you're thinking about combining these regular savers, these high-paying regular savers, with switching offers, and there are no switching deals going on right now. So this kind of leads me to, well, what should you do? Should you be locking in these regular savers now while the rates are high, because they could drop them down and then you're going to miss out on them? Well, when it comes to the Club Lloyds one, that 6.25% one I mentioned, I think it's worth going for that because the switching deals that have existed previously with Club Lloyds, they have been open to existing customers as well as new customers, as long as you hadn't already had switching cash from Lloyds or Halifax. So you could open up that account Incidentally, you also get a reward, which could be 6 cinema tickets or a year's Disney Plus with ads, which we'll come back to in Deals of the Week. Get that, overlap that regular saver at 6.25%, and you are going to be getting that for a year. Now, the First Direct one, this one, if you don't already have a First Direct account, I think it's probably better to hold off, because if you open up a First Direct account for the first time just to get this regular saver, which 7% is great, right? You'll rule yourself out of a switching deal from First Direct if it returns. Now, it might not. I imagine it will at some point, and that will rule you out. So I think it might be better just to hold off, see if a switching offer comes back, maybe get a dummy account ready if you haven't got one of those already for switching, so you can go over and switch the money, switch that bank account as soon as the switching deal comes in, and then hopefully there still will be a 7% regular saver running. If you already have a First Direct current account and you don't have that regular saver, then absolutely I would open it up. You can put up to £300 into there every single month. It doesn't let you make any withdrawals. Again, all these accounts I'm talking about right now, I have got full analysis of them over on becleveryourcash.com, so you can head over there and look for different savings account reviews we have, and you'll get more information, plus a whole guide to all the regular savers. But they're the ones that I would certainly be looking at. And again, with NatWest, that one and RBS, again, normally, although not always, but the switching deal there has been available to existing customers. Again, we don't know if that will be the case if and when it returns. But that one, because it's variable, is less of an issue. I mean, as we've seen in the nationwide cut right now, just because they might change the rate for new customers doesn't mean they will for older customers. But I would expect that if NatWest do lower, no guarantee they will, but if they do lower the rate on their regular saver, digital regular saver, I imagine it would change for all customers, new and old. But again, I might be wrong, but I would focus here on, first of all, the Club Lloyds if you're a newbie or existing customer either way, and First Direct if you already have the account. Lock that one in now. Okay, deals of the week now to round out this episode. Remember, becleverwithyourcash.com/deals is where you will find any particular links or codes that I might refer to in this chunk. Head over there and you'll be able to take advantage of these offers. Now, we are incredibly close to Valentine's Day when you're listening to this, but there might be a few different ways you can still save on that. There are a number of meal deals at the supermarkets. In fact, most of them have got them, and you know the drill. You get a main, some sides, some dessert, maybe some beers or chocolate with them. They can work out a very good value. What I would do, though, when you're looking at these is just one, price up all the items individually. Sometimes the vegetarian options or some of the sort of more plainer desserts or sides, actually, if you got all of those together, it might not be saving you any money. But also, I'd be thinking about, do you actually need all these items anyway? Because even if they save you money, if you're getting, a starter, a main, 2 sides, a dessert, a bottle of wine, some chocolate, all these things, but all you really want is a main, a dessert, and a bottle of wine, then maybe you're better off buying them separately. But so they can represent really decent value for money. So see if you can grab one of those over the next couple of days. Remember, you don't have to have them just for Valentine's Day. You can buy them now and have them any day over the next week, as long as the sell by date or the use by date is still okay. You may still also be able to get some flowers delivered in time. You are going to be paying a premium for them. But as I mentioned last week, there are a number of different codes available from different online flower retailers where you might be able to save a little bit of cash. So again, we've got that listed over on the website. You might also find a couple of wine deals in Sainsbury's, Asda, and Morrison's. Different to their normal buy 6, save 25% deals. Sometimes only on selected bottles, such as the Sainsbury's is the Taste the Difference. Asda got their own version of that. But again, if you buy, I think 3 bottles, get 25% off those bottles over really the next few days, the next few weeks. It could be a good one. Again, don't forget to look at other special offers that are on the shelves as well. Don't just assume these multi-buy ones are going to be the best value for money. Ideally, though, you get one that's already been discounted, that's in this offer, so you're stacking those savings. Now, I mentioned when we talked about regular savings accounts, that Club Lloyds current account, and one of the freebies you get with it. Well, I've mentioned this a few times on the pod, but it's worth talking about this one again. It is the free year of Disney Plus with adverts, which is not as good as it used to be, because it used to be just Disney Plus as it was. So now you have to sit through adverts and it's worth less, and there's no way of upgrading this free service. But if you do not mind adverts and you're a Taylor Swift fan, which I think most of the country are, I like a couple of the songs, I probably need to listen to her more, but her absolutely massive live concert film is going to be joining Disney Plus on the 15th of March, which is a month away. Now, I'm telling you about this now because if you do open up a Club Lloyds current account for the purpose of getting Disney Plus for free, it takes a month for that to come through. So if you open up the account in the next few days, then in a month's time, you'll be able to get your free Disney Plus so you can watch Taylor Swift concert and all the other things that are on there. Now, in the middle of March, there is going to be National Lottery Open Week, which basically means you get free or discounted entry to a number of attractions. And yes, that is maybe sort of 3 or 4 weeks away, but booking is open now. And some of those attractions, like the Eden Project or Tower of London or other things that are on there, they can obviously book up fast. Now, to do this, to get the free or discounted ticket, you will need a lotto ticket or a scratch card. But again, you don't need to get it now. You can book your ticket now and buy one of those at a later date. And maybe you also get lucky at the same time. What else to share with you quickly? Lidl, if you shop in Lidl, make sure you do check the Lidl Plus app this month just for February. But if you can get a free bakery item every time you shop, basically, but you do need to go in and spin the wheel in the app to get that one. And finally, Spotify has got an offer that ends on the 14th of February. This is a returning offer. These happen, 3 or 4 times a year. Sometimes they're 3 months the price of one. This one is 2 months for the price of one, so not as good as some of the offers. But yeah, if you've cancelled them before the 1st of January this year and you haven't had a similar offer since the 28th of November 2021, so you have to think back whether you've done this already in the last sort of just over a year and a bit, then you can take advantage of this. Now, you probably got emailed, but if you didn't receive an email, then it's worth just logging it into your Spotify account to see if it is there. As I said, details on all of these and many, many other deals over at becleverwithyourcash.com/deals. That is it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Cash Chats. My name is Andy Webb. Until next time, cheers.